All right, everybody. Thanks for joining the Q2 update for Stack, product update for Stack. Before I dive in, I want to do some quick introductions. On the call, we got David Fouché. He's our Senior Product Manager, and myself, Senior Vice President of Product and Engineering. Let's dive right in here. All right, we're going to go over what we've recently released, and then David's going to talk about a few of the key points that we're really proud of that we've developed and released over the last quarter. And then wrapping it up, I'm going to talk a little bit about the topic that's on everybody's mind is AI and where we're going with it. And then we'll do a little Q&A to go from there. I'm really excited about this last quarter. So we released 50, probably, if I'm being honest with myself, closer to the tune of 60 new features. The crew back in the shop is working their tails off. They're going hard. We're fully embracing AI as a software development paradigm, but the more exciting part is what I'm seeing coming out of David and the product team and how they're embracing AI to move forward and really meet the needs of customers. We think we're just getting started with this. We think next quarter we're going to have equal amounts of delivery in terms of impact, if not more, and we're really excited for what the future holds in the next 2, 3, 4 quarters. With that, I'd like to flip it over to David and let you talk a little bit about what we've developed and what we're proud about most. David, I think you might be on mute.
Hey, folks. Thanks, Ben. Folks, it is always a real pleasure to be here at these webinars and show off, a little bit about what we've done and what our engineering team has done. Before I dive in just a little bit, I want to Ben, if you don't mind, could you go back to that slide? It just occurred to me.
Yes.
The previous slide.
It off at all.
Like that is a real list of actual features that we released in the takeoff and estimating space alone. A couple of them are integration related, but most of these are takeoff and estimating. A lot of these are nickels and dimes, small quality of life things. Some of them are big projects. Some of them, I would say 25% of these at least were direct customer requests. So we listen. We really do listen. Case in point, I'm going to show you today the new toolbar. And some of you have come back and said, hey, there's this right-click drag that I've always loved. We didn't realize it was such a big feature. We're going to bring it back. So just stay tuned for that. But we really listen to what you're saying. And this is the result. And I also want to say one more thing about this, that when Ben said that we're embracing AI in our development process, ever since Ben got here in Q4, we have revolutionized, literally turned everything around on how we do discovery, which is learning what a feature should be and how it should work, writing those requirements up, and then actually executing the code. AI is literally at the center of all of it. I used to write what we call tickets. I don't write those anymore. AI writes them for me under my direction, and it makes it so much more standardized and faster. Stack is just the place to be right now. If you're in the takeoff and estimating space, if you're a software company, we are the place to be. It's incredible what we're doing. Okay, having said that, now we can go to the next slide. So here, I'm going to go into a demo in just a second. Ben's going to bring I'm going to share my screen. But that slide right there, we'll go back to that in a second. There's 2 places you can always go to. One is this little gift box up here. So, okay, Ben's going to bring it back. Great. If you go to the gift box, there's a what's new in there, and you can even search for it. That shows you what's coming out. We don't advertise every single feature because we'd overwhelm you, but most of the major ones that you want to know about are there. And then some of those make what we call the product update page, which has a little video and kind of highlights what's going on there. So that's that second one, the product updates page. So Ben, yeah, if you want to switch over to my screen now, that's great.
All right. I'm going to add your screen, and then I'm going to hop off here and let you take control, and let's go from there.
Excellent. So if you look up in my screen here, there's that what's new. If you click there, a lot of these will say watch demonstration. If you click that, it'll take you to the product updates page. There's usually a little video that explains, like a quick 2-minute or 30-second video that shows what's going on. So there are so many things to keep up with. Now I'm going to kind of go into a quick dive and show you some of the things we've done. So just fasten your seatbelts and watch. One of the things we've done, you've noticed this new toolbar. I'm going to talk about that in just a second, but basically we did this so that we could make room over here You've got a little bit more real estate, but we're also going to introduce a right panel here that's going to do some nice things for us. At the same time, this allowed us to do things like add right-click menus over here. So I can do a right-click, and change takeoff, explode, or whatever I need to do there, right? The other thing that this, let me just do one thing real quick here. Okay, so the other thing that we've added is all of these hotkeys. You'll notice that all the hotkeys are now listed directly in the menus. We had that in the old right toolbar, but they're now here. A lot of people didn't even know that we had these hotkeys. So we presented them here, so it's real quick to get to. There's hotkeys for just about everything. So if you're a power user and you want to keep cranking through stuff, this is the way to do it, is to use those hotkeys. Great. And if you all will give me just a second. We are also making our login process even better. So what we do for security, you all may notice that your bank, if you go to your banking website, it'll often log you out after 15 minutes of activity. We're not quite as stringent. We give you 7 days. But if you open Stack and you leave it running for 7 days, we are going to automatically log you out. Because for security reasons, we need to make sure that we don't just you don't stay logged in forever. There's another reason we do that, though, is that we need you to upgrade to the latest version of the software. You remember if those of you who remember the days of floppy disks and installing software on your desktop, that doesn't exist anymore here, of course, because we're completely cloud-based. But to get the new version, you do need to refresh your browser. So every now and then, we make sure that you log out. We log you out purposefully so that you'll get the latest version, to make sure you get the latest version of the software, and for security reasons. So that's kind of an important thing that just want to put out there. And we're going to make that log out experience a little bit better, probably within a week or so. So if you've ever gotten logged out automatically, it's gonna be better. Okay, so let's open this drawing here. And so yeah, these hotkeys, you're going to see these all over the place now. And if I go here, then they're all over the place wherever we have them. We've added new ones as well. So when you go create a new takeoff, we've got these. You can get used to any of these. And if you want to see the full list of keyboard shortcuts, come up here to your help, and then you can say keyboard shortcuts. And what that's going to do is it's going to open up a new browser window, and you can take a look at all of these. You can print this out, or you could just simply dock this off to the side so you have access to them for reference. Okay, great. So having said that, let's close that window. We're going to come back here to Stack and talk about a few other things. This was a direct customer request, and I loved this request when they came out. Let me explain what they said. They said, what we do is we organize by plan name. So I go to plan name, right? And I just collapse everything. And then as I open different plans, let's say I come up to here and I come down and I'm going to open this plan right here. We kind of forget where we are. And gosh, it'd be nice if you could just highlight it for us. So we did that. So you can see now that I'm on A152. That also shows up here, but down here it says A152 and it's highlighted in green. So these are the takeoffs that I currently have active in this plan. I can continue on. So just highlighting that in green is just a nice little quality of life thing. While we're here, I'll show you that the takeoff panel, we added this collapse expand all. Another customer request. This came in from several customers, quite a few of you actually. Just a quick way to expand them all out or collapse them. And we also added that in the libraries tab. So if you go here to takeoffs and you're looking at your takeoffs, and let's say you group by, say, CSI division, we're going to give you that ability to collapse or expand them all. Okay, great. Let's keep moving on. So this is one of my favorites. It just came out recently. Let's say you're going to organize by CSI division. So you've got all of these tags, right? And so these are tags and these are takeoffs. If I go to my takeoff, I have to come down here and say, I'm going to change this from masonry exterior to interior or something like that. Well, we thought, that's a lot of clicks. Plus, it's kind of hard to keep track of where everything is. So what we've added is if you click this button to sort manually, you can then take these guys and just drag them and recategorize them that way. Drag it, drop it, you're done. Okay? Nice little feature. This will help you use tags more effectively to categorize all your takeoffs. Another thing we added was, and this was a partial user request, I'll say, but it was also just kind of one of our engineers saying, hey, wouldn't this be cool? So he added what we call the mini map. So let's say you're down here and you're looking at you're deep into this takeoff here and you're doing the ceilings for this. And you're like, gosh, how did we do it over here? You could literally take this, drag it over, see what we did on that side of the building, and look at this. You could even just click back to come straight back to it. But at all times, as you move around the page, you can see where you are, or you can use this as a dragging feature. So kind of a nice, really nice way to navigate your plans if you choose to use it. It's right up here. You can hide it or show it, and that's a user preference. It'll stick throughout the project. Okay, so we did the new toolbar. We got a lot of great feedback on this. I would say 95% of it was positive. The other 5% was a little begrudging because we had moved your cheese. Man, I totally get that. And I will tell you that when we move somebody's cheese like that, that's what they say in the industry. You know, when we do that, we really think carefully about it. So we gave you about 3 weeks to get used to it. We listened to feedback during those 3 weeks. And we added a couple nice things to it. So let me show you one of them. One of them is I can click on this measurement, right click, and I've got these right click menus. And that includes over here. I can right click on this, so forth. So you've got some ability to get to what you want quick. And what this is going to also do for you is as more people in your company onboard, those right click menus are standard in the industry. Everybody expects them. This will make it really easy for them to understand what they can do to sort of discover the product, right? Oh, I can explode this thing. I can change the takeoff. I didn't even know I could do these things. Oh, and there's hotcut keys as well. So for discoverability and people learning how to use the tool, these right-click menus are going to be key. And those came along with this new toolbar. The second thing that I really like, now this was a customer request from several customers, and I can't really do it here because I've set all the scales, but what you can do here is grab all of your pages and you'll have the ability to set the scale in bulk. So if I know that most or all of my sheets are, say, 1/8 inch, I could set it right here. Watch what happens though. When I say, let's set it to 1/8 inch, it's going to say set scale, 28 sheets skipped because the scale is already set. Like, so it'll tell you, you've already set this. I'm not going to let you override it. That's too drastic of a situation. But for a lot of projects where you first get it, you get the project up. One of the cases that we had was kind of a civil project, doing a lot of piping out in the yard or out in the site. And they had dozens, maybe 50 or 100 of these sheets, and they were all 1 to 50 or 1 inch equals 50 feet. Right. So they just said, can I just grab them all and set them in bulk? So that's a nice win right there. Whew. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So let's come back here and I'm going to go open this project here because I've specifically set it up for this next feature. I'm going to come into here to plans and takeoffs, and I'm going to come over to this plan. Now, a lot of you have told us over the last couple of years that they get their plans in color. The architects will do them in color, and there's good reasons for that. The architects, you can see over here, they've color-coded the fire ratings, they've color-coded the walls, the doors, a lot of different things. This is a fire plan, for example. So all of this is in color. And they're like, that's great, I love the color, but man, it's hard for me to see my takeoffs. Like there's a takeoff. I've actually done a measurement there. It's hard for me to see those on top of the color. So I'm going to come up here and just turn off the color. Make it grayscale. Just like that. So you can turn it on, turn it off. It's a per sheet setting, so you can decide when you want to use it and when you don't. And it's fully supported when you go to print. So if I come here and say print, I can choose whether I want grayscale or color. Folks, I can't tell you how many of these are direct customer requests. When they come in, I use AI. We have a special tool we're using. I use AI that helps me vet through that. I take the transcript of the meeting if I've got one, and it helps me work all the requirements together. So much so, let me just go back to this batch scale one here. So this particular one came in from a customer as an email. I thought, hey, that's a really good idea. We looked up and other customers had requested this as well. So I took that data, I fed it all to my AI agent. And this is while I was at my son's birthday party. He was attending a birthday party, right? So he's there. I'm in the lounge working on my laptop. And I'm like, hey, AI, show me how to, let's write up this ticket. Within an hour, I had everything done, detailed. I sent it to the engineer. A day later, he had the code written. All of this on a weekend. That's how fast we're moving, folks. I can't tell you. It's just crazy. It's so much fun. All right, so that's Grayscale. Let me come back here. I digressed for a second. I'm going to come back in here to my Woodland Apartments. Obviously, this is a fake project, but that's okay because I'm using it for demo purpose. Okay, so here, the way I've set this project up, I don't know if you can, you may not be able to tell right away, but if you look at that hover box at the very bottom, it says zone 1, right? And if I take my cursor and come over here, this one says zone 2. So the way that's done, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to come down here and let's just do some more carpet. So floor carpet A, I'm going to start measuring. The way we do that is with labels. Man, if you all have not started using labels, now is the time to use it. And we're going to make it especially better starting next week. Like we got a feature that I'm going to show today that's coming out next week. So zone here, there's zone 2. So let's say I want to draw something in zone 3 and I click it. And then I'm like, okay, let's just go measure this thing. And I'm just going to put something together like that. In the past, all of these would reset every time you started a new measurement, right? So let's say I came back here and said, now I'm going to do floor carpet B. I'm also in zone 3. All of these would reset to none and you had to choose them. But notice that zone 3 stuck. That's because of a new preference that we added. I'll come up here to my preferences and you can see use last label values when creating new measurements. So that's a great, nice little quality of life. Click saver, keeps things standardized. If you don't like it, turn it off. So we give you that option. We're always really good about giving you options. All right, another one of my favorites. This also came in from a customer. So let's say let me go to a different plan here. I'm going to come down. This is a mismatch of plans. You're going to have to excuse me on this, but I'm going to come down here. And so this is like actually a credit union, but I'm looking at this guy and he's 7 3 3/4, right? By 6 8. I just need to draw that bathroom floor. So I'm going to come here to my VCT and I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to do a rectangle. Now, remember we have different modes, polygon or rectangle. You can also use T. See, there's the shortcut T. So what I'm going to do is hit T on my keyboard, which switches me to rectangle mode. And then I'm going to hit D for dimension. And that's going to trigger this little guy right there. Okay, but I'm going to use the hotkey D. Oh, look at that. It's 7 feet, 3.75 inches. And it's 6 feet, 8 inches tall. And now I've got a box that I can just place. Looks like my scale might be off on this guy, so we can come back to that. But this is placing it based on that scale. Let me actually change this. Come back here. I'm going to set this to quarter scale. I bet this is a quarter scale drawing. So we're going to come down here to quarter scale. Great. And let's do that one more time. I apologize for not having that set up in advance, but I'm going to click here. So T, D, right? And then I'm going to say 7, 3.75. And I'm going to do 6, 8. And now I've got my box, right? Okay, folks, watch this too. While I'm here, do you notice something interesting happening? Do you notice that little snap guy is snapping right to the plan? We'll come back to that in just a minute. But the key thing is the precise dimension placement. So if I click here again and I say, you know what? I need to change those. This is actually going to be, we need to go 8 feet, let's say, even. And this is going to be 7 feet. I can just type those dimensions in and it'll change that dimension for me. Okay, so that's a nice little new one that we've just added. Let's come over here and do another one. Let's do the floor carpet A. And this snap to plans is new. Now, you've always been able to snap to your geometries, at least for the past few years. I'm going to turn that off, though, and snap to plans. And that's what I was just showing you. Now, when I get close to that corner, he just locks in place there for me. So I can quickly snap, 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 just snap right around and get this guy right. And I'm done. Works for dimensions too. So let me do Shift D for my dimensions. And I'm going to lock to this guy, lock to this guy. You can see it says 9 feet, 9 feet, right? Really precise. It allows you to snap directly to the plans. And what you'll notice is we're actually using the vector data. If you don't know what vector is, Google it. It's pretty simple. It means lines instead of pixels. So we're using vector data on the PDF that you gave us. So that's great. You're not always going to have that vector data. Some PDFs don't have it. When that happens, you simply just won't get that snap to plans. This thing will be disabled. But there's no performance degradation. We've done thorough testing on this. We've had it out for several customers for a while now. So that snap to plans, you're not going to see any performance degradation like you do in some other tools that I've seen out there in the industry, where if you try to snap the plans, you try to use that vector data, it slows you down pretty bad. Whew. Okay, still going. We're not done here, folks. Let me come into the CMU wall, come down here and show you something else that's really cool that I love. Come here, edit. Check this out. You've always had these item groups, right? Some of your item groups are really long, right? You've got lots of choices. So if you've got assemblies, you can choose item groups, and you set up item groups so that you choose which one you want. In this case, I'm choosing rebar, right? So I've got all of these rebar options. I have seen some of our customers have 30 to 40 or more options in that little drop down. All I got to do here is type 3. Look at that. And of course, what it did is it found anywhere there was a 3. Simple. But now I can exactly get through the one I want, right? Just click it. So that little item group search bar is new. It's a great little time saver for you all. It also works in the estimates. So let me come over to the estimates real quick. Open this guy. I'm going to go to my worksheet. And if you haven't seen or played with this estimating tool, man, you need to get with one of our account managers or our trainers, or just play with it yourself. There is so much value here. Anyway, I'm going to right click on this guy, hit edit assembly inputs. Oh, wow. There's all of my options again. Look at that. I can search. This time I need a number 4 bar. So I'm just going to switch it. So you can switch it either way and you've got that search. Okay. Still hanging with me? I'm going to do something here. I'm going to do a little bit, switch gears just a little bit. Watch me carefully. This is a different instance of Stack. I'm using what's in Chrome, what's called an incognito window. It's kind of a cool feature if you haven't used it. In Chrome, you can come up here and say new incognito window. What it means is you can log into an app using 2 different logins if you want. So I've logged in up here as an estimator, but this one I've logged in as a cost viewer. Okay, what is a cost viewer? If you're not familiar with that, it's simple. A cost viewer is a role that we actually have in Stack that we give to you that comes along with your paid subscription. So if you're buying Stack and let's say you've bought 5 or 10 seats or even 1 seat, you get unlimited of these viewer type roles, and cost viewer is one of those. So you got a project manager who's not going to come into Stack very often. You don't want to pay the full price. Man, you can have unlimited of these. What we recently did is we allowed the cost viewer can now get into the estimate. So you got an estimate going, cost viewer can come in here. They can see everything. They can't edit anything. They can even see the other costs. They can look at anything they want. They just can't edit. So that's a nice win to open up Stack to a greater part of your user base without having to pay anything. It's a really, really nice feature. We continue to take those viewer seats, those unpaid or those free seats that come with your paid subscription. We continue to expand those capabilities. Okay, now that I'm in the estimate, something else we did here that's pretty cool. So I am going to, let me actually switch projects. This is a unit of measurement project. This is one of my play projects. It's not a real one at all, but I use it to play with features, to understand features a little bit better. So I'm just going to show you this feature. I'm in here in my estimate. I have a few takeoffs. Note down here in define scope, I've actually said I want everything except I only want some of those takeoffs. So if you haven't played with estimate scope, that's a way of filtering out what's actually in the estimate. But you can see I've just chosen a few of these. Let me show you why. Up here in the columns menu, man, we made this so much better. You can expand all your columns out here, close them up. You can turn ones completely on or off with a click of a button. You can search for columns that you're looking for. You can select all. I'm not going to do that right now. But let's look at this one. These are new. Now, if you're familiar with Stack, these are what we call the input-based takeoff types. Pitched area, for example, is a way you can draw a roof or, say, a ramp. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw an area, but you're going to give it a pitch, a rise and a run, or you can use an angle. And so then, let me just use my hands here if you can see it. So this is the flat area that you're going to draw, but it really represents something that angles up. So that's a much greater area. And so that pitched area allows you to calculate the sloped area, which is a little bit more. So let me show you what's going on here. Volume 3D is a way of doing strip footings. Volume 2D is typically used for slabs. You draw a shape and give it a depth. Anyway, go talk to your trainers if you want to know more about these. They're incredibly powerful. I'm going to turn on the Volume 3D. What that's giving me now is anywhere I drew a Volume 3D with just one takeoff, I would input different widths and depths for the different measurements. So here I've got one at 2554. That's the total cubic yards of all of the measurements that are 3 foot 2 wide and 1 foot 8 deep for that strip footing. There's the cubic yards for all of the strip footings with this takeoff that are 3 foot wide and 2 foot deep. Now this plays out in a lot of different ways. A lot of our customers, for example, use the surface area takeoff. This is a great takeoff. What this allows you to do is draw a single line and give it a height. And then you can measure chipboard, studs, whatever it is. You just draw a single line. So what we're seeing here is, excuse me, for this particular takeoff, I've got some that are 10 feet tall and some that are 10 foot 4. And I can see the total square footage calculated for each one of these. It's a phenomenal new tool that we've just added, and all of this can export to Excel. So if you need it, if you need to get that out in Excel, you can do that. While I'm here, I'm going to expand this out a little bit. Actually, I'm going to go back to my previous project. Let's do that. So I'm going to go back to this estimate, open up this particular project. Man, it just keeps going on and on, right? So let's look at this material costs here. I'm just going to hone in on this a little bit. I'm going to expand that out. So slide over, and some of the things we've added here, these are really complicated calculations that we're now handling for you. Okay, so let's go over here and take this guy, and I'm going to pin him. So if you haven't done that yet, learn how to pin things. I can take this over and pin him as well. So now when I slide this, I can keep track of these guys. That feature's been there. You just may not have used it. So let's take a look at this shower stall. Well, we've got a cost modifier of 25%, which means whatever we're paying for that shower, $200 each, there's a $25 service fee or whatever it is. Guess what? This could be a discount. Since we know we're buying in bulk, I'm going to make it negative 15%. So you can add that as well if you want. Okay. Then we have profit markup. Profit markup, and we also have profit markup. I always trip when I say this, so I apologize. I feel like I'm doing a Dr. Seuss book here. Profit markup and profit margin. Most of you know that markup and margin are two sides of the same coin. Happy to sit down and explain it to you if you need to, but basically you can say we're going to work with margin or we're going to work with markup. So I could say 25% markup and take that out, take the margin out. I'll hit delete. Or I could say I want to use margin. Either one, you could say margin or markup. We've given you both those abilities. That's a little bit in the weeds, but man, the point is we keep taking this estimate and providing more detailed value. All of this is based on users who come to us and say, this is what we need. This is how we estimate. So for example, my overhead might be a markup, but my profit might be a margin, right? And you can set that here in the other costs as well. Okay, let's go back to the plans and takeoffs. Another one of my favorite features that we just added about a month ago, 2 months ago, gosh, I don't remember, is you could take certain measurements. Let's say, for example, I took this guy, right? Actually, let's say this entire side. That was all in the project, right? So let's just say all of this was part of the base bid. See this little toggle over here I keep hitting? We can count those as negative if we want. Now you might say, why would I do that? I just delete them. Well, the reason is I want to say, no, you know what? We're just going to take out this scope, but I want to keep the fact that it was in scope, and then I want to subtract it out. So simply, I'm going to take this measurement, make a copy, come over here, paste it. So now I have double, but I'm going to take these guys and say count as negative. And what I might further do is say, well, let's change the change. Let's change the change. This is change order 1, which was to eliminate this scope of work. Guess what? Now I've got this under base bid as a plus. Then I've got change order 1, that same scope as a negative. And that plays out through your estimates, your reports, everywhere. We're going to do a little bit more on this work, on this feature coming in May. So stay tuned. Back to the estimate. When I'm here, one of the greatest features of the estimate is what we'll call the other costs. We call them the other costs. This is where you can add things that are sort of indirects, margin, overhead, tax. You might have shipping fees, contingencies, all of that stuff. So you set all this up and you're like, man, that's a lot of stuff. And I want to reuse that. Let me just do this real quick. I'm going to take that, delete all costs and group. And the reason I'm doing that actually is to show it to you. You all may not know, you can right click here and say delete all costs and group. Take that as a little tips and tricks from Mr. Fouché. So you're going to delete all of this. And you're like, I want to start with the company template. Come over here to the template and say, here's the company baseline. Notice the auto add badge. Talk about that in a second, but I'm going to click this puppy. And what happens is it populates it with a template of all of my base costs, all of my other costs, my indirect costs. Now, going back to that badge, that auto add means every new estimate will automatically get that template. So you don't have to think about it. You say, I want this to be an auto add template. Every estimate throughout your entire company will automatically get those costs added in. Whew. As if that's not enough. If you guys want to keep going, I could show you the other 32 features that we've done. I think I've shown about 17 here. That's where I'm going to stop, though. And I think we're ready to talk about, move on to the next slide. So thanks all so much for listening.
David, that's incredible. I think we're going to have to make these webinars longer if we keep producing at the rate we're going. I want to touch back on a few items there. You mentioned something about the logging in, logging out. I want to double down on that. We're releasing new features daily, sometimes multiple times a day. It's a bonus, refresh your browser, log in, log out. You might get something new. I know we have a lot of fun UI UX changes that you will see immediately coming in the next couple of weeks. So I really recommend that. Another touch point I want to get on is we have a real strong focus on our estimation tool. We're putting a lot of effort, a lot of TLC there. You saw some of the features that we've put out today. We're going to be adding more features in the future. We love your guys' feedback. So please keep all the feedback coming. We want you in the estimation tool, and we want it to make your lives easier and better. So the only way we can do that is by getting your feedback. Let's remove this and go back here. All right. We'll go on to the next page. Now we can dive into the integrations a little bit. David, if you still have some breath left in you a little bit, would you like to talk a little bit about some of the integration work we've done?
Absolutely. So Miles Montes has been our product manager for integrations. Since he works directly with clients, he said, David, why don't you take it for the webinar and just explain what's going on? A couple of key things we did with Acumatica. That's one of our big partners that we partnered up with a year ago. So we have a very tight integration with Acumatica. In case you didn't know that, just want to make sure you all are aware. You can take the estimate, send it directly into Acumatica, and we can show you how that works. It's pretty slick. Two things we've added though. One is in Stack, you're probably familiar with items. And items are kind of the core, the atomic unit of everything we do. So if you've got takeoffs, you add items. That allows you to turn a measurement into a purchase quantity. So you measure 1,000 square feet. That's 4 gallons of paint. That's what items do for us. That's what they do. Well, items, most companies that use Acumatica already have these line items, your material list, your labor list, all the equipment, all of that already set up in Acumatica. We built an integration that lets you take all of those items in Acumatica and populate your Stack item library with a single click or a couple of clicks, basically one dialog. It imports them all. So a lot of really good stuff there. It helps you get up to speed very quickly. And of course, what that does is allows it to round trip. So you take your Acumatica items, you bring them into Stack, you work through the takeoff and the estimate. And when you're done, you push them right back and they know where to go because they originally came from there. The second one that we built was a change order request. So we know the delta between two estimates, an estimate that you submitted to Acumatica before, that same estimate later, same estimate. You don't need to make a copy. So that same estimate, if you push it later, you can say, I want to flag this as a change order, and we'll look at the delta between those two in Acumatica and just provide the delta. So it's a very slick integration, and we're going to continue to build that integration.
Let's go to the next slide. What's next? Let's see here. We can talk a little bit about this, and then maybe we can go into the AI conversation. I know that's what everybody probably wants to hear most. Which order would you like to do, David? Maybe I'll
Um,
give you a break and I'll
why don't I
talk
just
AI.
I'll just walk through what's coming.
Okay.
Yeah, let me. Oh yeah, go ahead. Whatever you want, however you want to handle it is
Yeah,
good.
let's talk a little bit about AI, then we'll go back to what's coming. Give David a chance to catch his breath there. It's the hot topic these days, AI. There's a couple of key points with this one before I dive in, because we're extremely excited about what we're building and what we get to showcase to you guys in a couple of quarters. But before we dive into that, we've recognized a couple of key things. One, AI is not here to replace anything. AI is here to augment and help. It's here to assist. It's going to make everyone's lives easier, faster, and hopefully get more accurate bids out quicker. That's a key component of that. The other one, and this is a bit of a hot take that we have, but we view AI as a race to zero. We think it's going to be very similar to mobile apps in the regards that it'll be an expectation of customers, but it's not going to be a differentiator. Very similarly, when mobile apps came out, it was very cool and a little bit of a differentiator at the beginning, but you fast forward a couple of years and it's just an expectation. Have a mobile app, have good AI. We fully believe in that. And the last aspect I want to touch on before I talk into the exciting AI is we view as one of the biggest differentiators is the fact of the data. And so your data, as you participate with Stack from now and going into the future, the models that we're using are going to be training on your data specifically for you. Those models are for you. That data is important because as time goes on and the longer you're with a company, the more that model can learn from you and train and provide up more meaningful insight. If you're working with some of smaller companies that maybe fly by night, it's important to recognize that 90% of all startups fail. You're going to lose a lot of that data out of the gate. There's also some security and privacy concerns. We're SOC 2 Type 2 compliant, so the data is safe with us. And we're here for the long haul. We want to make something meaningful and impactful. And so all the engagement that you have and all the learnings that your data will be surfaced back to you will be there long into the future. So with that, I want to talk about the AI aspects real quick. I won't go on it too long. We're going to double down on Stack Assist. Stack Assist is going to help walk you through Stack and help build those projects out faster and easier. We have some really exciting stuff that we want to build in that regard. And we're going to start seeing incremental improvements in Stack Assist, not only this quarter, but the next couple of quarters. The other thing is we're really going to be working on assisting everybody with marking up windows, doors, rooms. And we're also going to start looking at wall types and bringing your schedule in. So what we're going to do is Stack Assist is going to help walk you through all this. And then it's going to say, hey, does this feel right? Is this good? Do you like it? And you say, yes, I like it, or no, I don't like it. Or you dive right into our tool set and you modify it yourself. You say, you know what? To heck with you, AI. You're not my friend. I'm going to do this on my own. Whatever journey you want to take, we want to be there to help you. And we want to make your guys' life easier. With that, we also are focusing on trades, and I think we'll get a lot of those questions in the Q&A, but there's a big focus too on trades. And so there'll be a lot of AI that we build around trades to help make specific product building, product focused features for specific trades. With that, I want to dance it right back over to you, David.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate you letting me catch my breath there for just a second. Okay, so here's the list. You're going to get the recording. You can take a look at this list. The only one that I have visuals for everything except the first two. So let's talk about those real quick. Item import. So items today, I mentioned that was kind of like the atomic unit of a Stack. And in the past, or up until now, what we've allowed you to do is take your item list that you've got Excel somewhere, put it in a little bit of a special format. It's not that special, but put it in our format, and then we import that list into your library so that you have you can populate your items very, very quickly. Now we've done that always, and the main reason for that is we do a little bit of checking, we do a little bit of smoke test, make sure everything's good. Because what we don't want to do is export your items, you change them, import them, and there be something wrong. So we're now at a point where we got so many people using items, so many customers are asking for this import. We thought now it's time to open it up and let you import your own. So what you will do is I can give you a quick, actually, I could demo this very briefly, Ben, if
You
you
want
want
me
to
to?
switch over to my, yeah, switch
Yeah,
over to my
you
screen.
got it.
It's always good to kind of put a visual to things. So if you see my screen, I'm going to go to my libraries. This is my library. I call it Big Green Bear, but I can come up here and I can export my items to CSV. And what I could then do is edit them. So look for standards, change the names, change the unit costs, all of that. Today, to import them back in, somebody at Stack has to do that for you. We're going to open that up so that you can do it yourself. And we'll put some guardrails around it and some checks to make sure that the data comes in clean. But yeah, we're about we're going to be working on that. So be looking for that sometime in Q2. Okay. The second one is audit trail. I can't really show that. The basic idea is I want to know who did what when within the takeoff space. The way we're handling this is building the audit trail as a sort of a platform, and then various parts of the app can leverage it. So like in your project list, if you change something in here in the project details or something, we'll be able to flag that and tell you what changed. The main place you're going to see it though, the first release is right here in the takeoff space. So you'll know who did what, added a takeoff, created measurements, that kind of thing. Okay. With that, I'm going to go into a little bit more. Let's be very clear. This is what's coming. This is I'm opening the hood. You're seeing us work on the engine a little bit. So I'm going to kind of give you exposure to some of the things we're working on. A lot of these things are partly baked. Some of them are more fully baked. So just be aware of that before I dive in too deep. But I'm going to walk through a quick list. The first one, this should be out very soon, maybe early next week. You remember you hearing me talk about tags and labels earlier. We'll look up here. We've added this new tab, tags and labels. You click here and you can look at your tags. You can look at your labels, and then you can add them right here. If you want to add a new one, you can edit them right here. So rather than have to go sort of buried in the interface, these now play a prominent front and center place right up here in the interface. So you can see all of your tags and all of your labels, and you can edit them right here in this tab. So be looking for that. I don't want to give you an exact date, but I'm pretty confident we're going to release next week. So we're pretty excited about that. The next one I'm also very excited about is this. You all have been almost begging us to say, hey, I need project type or building type. Give me some more attributes. Rather than just give you building type, we let you choose. So here you can see in my project home now, I've got this thing called project fields. And I just set 4 up that I might want to use. So it's the project type is a hospital. Actually, this one is multifamily. Notice the apartments. So I'm going to switch it to multifamily. Who's the lead estimator? And by that, I don't mean who's assigned to this project. Who's really going to take ownership of this? I'd like to say it's Ben, but he's not on my list. Go figure. So I'm going to assign this one to me, David. I'm going to be the lead estimator. I'm taking point on this. Well, we've got a bid date. That's great. Okay, that's when the bid date is due. What if we won? How do we track that? Well, I've added a won date and I can say that. So let's say we won it today. Let's celebrate, everybody, shall we? We won it today. I can set this date separately. And the last one I just threw in was what division is this? Is it mechanical, plumbing? So a lot of companies have different divisions within their company. One, for example, a painting company that I work with pretty closely, they have like an industrial side and a commercial side. So that would give them the ability to say what division or whatever. Now, don't get caught up on these names. All of these names here, you can set. So let me show you how you're going to do that. I'm going to go to my account settings, my company settings. I'm going to slide down here. You can see I've got my project fields right now. So I can edit any one of these. I can change the name, description. I can change the order. I can drag and drop these up and down to get them in a different place. And I can create new ones and edit them and so forth. While I'm here, take a look down here, estimate statuses. This is our first step to let you say this estimate, you can set the status on just the estimate. So maybe you won the project, but you didn't win this particular estimate, or this estimate is in working status, it's a change order, whatever it is, you could set up statuses here now and track those estimates. Let me show you how that's going to work. So I'm going to go into projects real quick. We'll go over to the estimate side, and let's open this particular estimate. Notice I'm in my dashboard. So within this dashboard, that same widget you saw before is right here. We added, even though these are project fields, we added them here because I, as the estimator, this is where I need to make sure everything's set properly. Yes, it's multifamily, it's me, all of that data, I can set it here, or I can set up in Project Home. So you've got some flexibility, but this is where I would set the estimate status. And this is for this particular estimate. This is working, haven't submitted it yet. Now, if I've got a bunch of other estimates, I might say abandoned, right? Or I might have other statuses for those estimates. So all of that's coming here pretty soon. Again, I don't want to give you a date, but it might be as early as next week. So be looking for that. To top it off, if you come to your project list and you come up here and export your project list to CSV, like I've got here, all of that rich data will show up in your CSV. So now you've got a list of all your projects with all of that metadata that you can take wherever you need to do whatever analytics you need to do. Okay, back in here. Something new that we're introducing, now that we've introduced the top bar, we're introducing now a right panel. And the first thing that's going to be housed here is the libraries. We had a lot of feedback from you all saying, you know what, my libraries, when I click on my libraries and I measure from there, I get confused whether I'm in takeoffs or I'm in libraries. And I want to see both at the same time because I want to see if I've already added this to my project. Did I add bath shower? I want to come over here and take a look and see if it's over. Oh, I already added it. I don't need to add it again. So we pull this into a right panel. We reorganized it slightly so that you have takeoffs, items, or assemblies instead of the stacked. That way you get your full list. You can still search. We're going to be adding more to this right panel.
Hey,
First
David,
step, for example,
when do you think the right panel is
Yeah.
going to be out? Let me throw you a softball. Is that going to be?
Oh my gosh, you're not throwing me a softball. You're teeing me up.
We want to use it.
We have every reason to believe this will be out next week.
All right.
Give or take. So I keep saying next week, man, we are moving fast on a lot of these things.
Well, now it's live. We're all going to hold you to it.
Yeah, that's right. So what I usually say, Ben, is this will release on Friday. I just won't tell you which Friday, right? Okay. All right, so let's go here. Let's say I want to edit that takeoff settings. I'm going to click here and hit edit, and it opens in the right panel so that I still have my full visibility of the left panel. Now, folks, I hope you're paying really close attention. I know what some of you might be thinking. Oh gosh, this takes up more real estate. Why are they doing this? They're moving my cheese again. Man, I totally get that. I want to paint you the bigger picture a little bit. So I'm going to show you some more slides in a minute that kind of show you where we're going and why this is all going to be really important and why this is going to be really great. Because we truly believe it will be. First off, you don't need to use these settings that often. So you could close it. Second off, you can close this. So now you've got a panel over here that just has your takeoffs. And whenever you want to measure, you just click to measure. And you'll have this list like a navigation, kind of like your folders in your Windows Explorer, or a tree that shows you everything all at once. You can see all of your takeoffs as you work. You just click and start measuring, click and start measuring. So that right panel is totally dismissible. Be clear about that. But one of the places this is going to allow us to go, and I'm going to open up a PowerPoint now to just show you some images. So here, imagine a takeoff tree where you show your items and assemblies like this. So I'm in a takeoff space and I've got my takeoffs. I'm organized by wall type and fire rating and whatever, but I've also got my takeoff and I can see all of my items and assemblies and I can expand out however I need to. So now you suddenly have full visibility of where those items are being used on what takeoffs. Now we can do some really fun stuff. Like I could say, oh, I want to replace this with a different item throughout my project. If you think you don't use that very often or you wouldn't use it very often, imagine changing vendors, right? Let's say you had a library for one vendor and a library for a different. You just want to swap things out. Or the client came back and said, hey, we're no longer going with the half-inch chipboard. We need to go with the 3/4-inch chipboard throughout. Okay, come in, right-click, replace. Those kinds of things are things that we'll be able to do. And you always have full visibility right here on the left panel. Another one, I talked earlier about count as negative or negative measurements. So what we're going to add to those is if this is a negative measurement, we're going to add a little icon just so that you can see these guys are negative. These two guys over here, we removed them from scope. So that's a count. Down here, I've got a linear. So some of those measurements, again, are positive and some are negative, and we'll show them to you on the drawings, and you'll be able to print it that way as well. Next, typicals. This is one I'm really excited about. This has Huge potential, and we'll talk to you a bit more about it when we get there, which is going to be pretty soon, probably mid-May, mid to late May. Here's the concept. First off, up here, you've got a tab called Typicals, right? You take a bunch of measurements. These are all represent enlarged one-bedroom king unit that we're going to use throughout the project, right? So I grab all the measurements. I've got the tile, I've got the carpet, the walls, the ceiling, maybe the furniture, the bathroom fixtures, all of it. And I wrap it up into something I call bedroom king. And that's the unit. That's the typical that I'm going to use. Then I go to my project and I start counting. So I've got bedroom king and I just say, oh, I got one here, one here, one here. This washroom master or studio, I've got 1, 2, 3. You just start counting, click, click, click all over the plan. Every time you click and add a counter, we just multiply up the measurements. Measure once and then count. Now, this has huge implications for in a variety of ways. Imagine a typical detail. So if you're doing piping, for example, you might have a hydrant. So that hydrant has multiple pieces. You go into the typical detail, you do all of the counts and the little measurements you need, you get all those takeoffs ready, and you say typical detail, hydrant A. Then you go throughout the plan and you just place counters wherever that hydrant occurs. Really simple form of a quote assembly. And there's more to it. So I won't steal all the thunder right now. Next, woo, am I excited about this one? Item formulas.
This one comes
I
up
go
a lot.
here. Yeah, this one. So today you can add items to a takeoff. Now we're going to let you put a formula on that. For a little bit of background, any of you all who have items today, we use a simple ratio for the coverage rate. 1,000 square feet equals 1 gallon of paint or whatever, or 4 gallons of paint, right? So simple ratio, 1,000 square feet, 4 gallons of paint. Or 300 square feet, 1 gallon of paint. Now we're going to say, you know what? You can create more complicated formulas. So add a formula. You get the formula editor. You can use all of the stack measurement variables over here. You can use Excel-like functions. You create the formula you want. You hit save. And now that purchase quantity is going to play through the formula. And you get a little icon here showing you that, hey, this one's got a formula on it. A lot of requests for this. And this is going to revolutionize how you use items and how you think about assemblies. Pin that thought. Stay tuned, folks. That's all I got for right now. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I love that feature. I know that assemblies is for sure a power user feature, and items is putting the formulas in items is kind of like a good gateway drug to get you into assemblies. But it's definitely been long requested. All right, you went through a lot there, David. Let's jump over to question and answers, or at least the questions, and maybe we can provide the answers. A lot of good ones in here. I saw one that was someone that called me out directly. It says, can Ben address backup concerns? I live in fear of losing the whole instance that I have spent 2 years building since there's no way to back up locally. I can rest assured you we have backups upon backups upon backups. So your backup concerns are if the data is lost, I think the nation in general has bigger concerns. But we have what we call near-term storage. We have short-term storage, and then we have long-term storage. And what that basically translates to is that you will not be losing any of your data. Let's go to the very top, and we'll go from there. What's the most, David? This one might be in yours. What's the most effective way to create? I think that's to create measurements and drawings on the right side by selecting item names from the left menu panel in Stack software.
Let me see if I can get that. Go to the top.
I might be reading it wrong.
What's the most effective way to create measurements in the drawings on the right side by selecting item names from the left panel in the Stack software? So, I mean, the simplest thing, maybe I just do a quick demo of how to create a measurement, if that works. If you want to share my screen again, Ben, I'm happy to just show you all. Let me know when am I still sharing? Yeah, am I still sharing? Yeah.
Boom, there you go. Yep.
On the left panel, you've got these takeoffs, and you're just going to say, start measuring. Now, this has inputs that you can choose, so you could add a multiplier and stuff, but basically all you have to do is just start drawing. What I don't understand about is the question about the right panel. So what I'm going to say there is these libraries are takeoffs, items, and assemblies. We do have a way to say these are stored in your library, your company library. This is the Big Green Bear library. So you could come in here and say, I want to take this, say this forest, and I just want to start measuring directly from my library. In that case, you click this button, and what it does is it adds it to your takeoff list, to your project. And in this case, I've got an assembly attached, so I'm going to save those options, and I'm just going to start drawing. So it kind of depends how you want to work. You can also measure directly from an item. So I can come down here and say, I've got different items that I want to work with, and I can measure directly from those items or from those assemblies. Hopefully that answers the question. If not, I'm going to urge you to click this little green button down here. Click that button.
And that's for David
immediately.
specifically.
Yeah, no, just tell them you need some help. Tell them you need some training, or you just want somebody to help you walk through it and figure out how to do things. Okay.
One is more of a comment. It says, thank you for bringing back the right click and drag. I think the main aspect there is we're listening. We're here to build trust. We're here to be here for you, for everybody that's using our software. So anytime we make changes, anytime you think there's something more we need to add, please, we are listening and we are building all the time. Here, what's the next question we have? Are we able to upload prints and get a line item estimate?
The short answer is yes. The long answer is it's not as automated as it will be. So today you can upload prints. We do have AI that will find certain things, walls, doors, windows, and so forth. Over time, that's going to be more and more automated. Stay tuned. Stick with us. We are a robust company with a lot of revenue. We're not just a little startup, we're well funded, and we make a lot of money. We have good ARR. So we are poised to continue to develop at an incredible rate. Stick with us, and it'll get better and better.
Yeah, I think the main aspect that you're touching upon there is we're here to build for the future, and a big aspect of that with AI and building for the future is really focusing on the customer needs and the customer demands and the data that we accumulate with you guys using our tool set. All right, let's go to the next one. Is there an auto verification for plan scale verification? For example, input scale, and it checks a door width or plan dimension to double check the scale.
Yeah, so what we do there, we actually have a calibrate button. I don't know if you've seen that. The easiest way to show this, I'm going to turn all my takeoffs off. Let's assume this is a 3.0 door here. So when I set the scale, one thing I can do is say calibrate, and I say I'm going to measure 3 feet. And you are going to tell me, so I'm going to click, and that sets the scale. Now in this case, I don't know exactly where I clicked, so it set the scale of some random scale that I picked. But that's typically what we can do. Or if you want to set this to 8 scale, another way that we do it is pretty simple. Is you run a dimension string, right? So I'm going to hit Shift D to run a dimension string, and I'm going to zoom in here. Let's assume that the door width goes from there to there. You can see it's actually 3'2". And if that seems correct to you, then that's another way to calibrate that scale and make sure it's correct.
Awesome. We'll do one more question here. I think this is a pretty solid question, and then we'll shut it down. Appreciate everybody joining today. David, is there a limit to project fields? Is there a limit to project fields, and is there a global margin entry or per material type and labor?
Not yet. Not yet on the second part of that question. We in the estimate, we're going to start to build things like that we can use to calculate. So that's a great one, the global overhead or margin. The way you would handle that today is with the other cost templates that I showed. Set it there and then just reuse that template. Another one variable that we've talked about is days on site. So if you tell us what the days are on site are for a given project, then we could calculate, help you calculate crew what kind of crew you need, and so forth. So those were coming. Those will be coming. The first wave, though, is just you'll have up to 10 fields. You can define them. They'll either be drop downs, custom drop downs, or dates, and then we'll expand from there. Now we're limiting it to 10 just because you don't want to do unlimited. That starts to get a little wonky in the interface. So imagine if we said, yeah, you can have 300 fields. First of all, nobody would fill them out on a per project basis. Second, it creates a widget that's way too big. So we're kind of guessing that 10 would be enough. If you've got some input, though, let us know.
All right, we're at time. I just want to reiterate, crew, we're working day and night and weekends. We're cranking out features as fast as we can. We're listening to everything that our customers have to say. And we're really excited about what the next couple of quarters and even the next year that we have lined up that we're going to showcase. And we're excited about our AI. We're very excited about our AI, but I can't double and triple down enough is we're building it to help. We're not building it to replace, and we're building it to make sure that you guys use it and feel that it's accurate and you trust it. And that's a big part of what we're going for. But thanks everybody for showing up. David, thanks again for the demo. That was a crazy demo. I don't even know what we're going to do next quarter. And please keep those requests coming in.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.